Jang Yongshil, a job seeker, she applied for every job possible. Despite the continuous rejection, she never gave up. She's counting on part-time jobs to earn money. Finally, her daunting search has come to an end. She was accepted in the analysis team in the National Security Agency. She was super excited for getting a 2-year contract and thought she could convince them to hire her forever. 2 years later, her boss fired her, saying they don't need her service anymore. She was so depressed and went one last time to finish the paperwork. While being there, she heard her boss by accident. He was scammed in a voice phishing call and lost $500,000. Youngchil offered to help him, but he always sees her as a nobody and refused. However, after searching for any agent who can help him secretly without losing his dignity and job, he found none and had to turn to Youngchil eventually. He gave her a company's address that he suspects is behind the scam call. She applied for that company as they were hiring. She got accepted immediately. On orientation day, she learned that they are a professional voice phishing ring and that they even scammed the National Security Agency lately. She knew they were the ones she was looking for. Then they met the CEO, who told them they are like family and that in their company, no one is kicked out based on performance. Youngchil was charmed by him for a moment, but shifted her focus back to the plan. She was surprised to see an undercover cop working there. She recognized her because a few days earlier, she saw her beating the hell out of a pervert in the subway. The cop has some serious anger issues. Anyone who pisses her off has a death wish. Youngshil was so scared because she was assigned to work with her. After that, she went to meet her boss, who told her to get his money before the cop collects evidence and arrests everyone, or he will never see his money ever again. Youngshil went back to work and started making phone calls, but from the very beginning, she ended up with clients who knew she was bluffing. They humiliated her and swore at her for scamming people. So she ended up depressed and couldn't go on. Until a colleague came to cheer her up, saying that she will get used to this after seeing the salary they offer. So Youngshil went back to work a bit better. Surprisingly, she started gaining people's trust one after the other and getting lots of cash into the company, gaining the admiration of the CEO. Everyone in the company was looking up to her for her achievements. They threw a party for her. Youngshil kept drinking and having fun until she saw the cop searching in the boss suit. Youngshil unconsciously revealed to the cop that she knew about her all along, then left. The cop didn't know if she was just drunk or telling the truth. So the next day, the cop was worried that Youngshil might expose her, but she found her acting totally normal, so she let it go. Anyway, it was time for both of them to act. Youngshil sneaked into the company to put a spy cam in the boss's office, while the cop also sneaked in to get any evidence against them. She saw Youngshil's shadow, so she attacked her to see who she is, and was surprised when she saw her face. They didn't have time to chat about it because the guard saw them both and started chasing them fiercely. They stole a taxi and ran away, but the guard was right after them. He gave them no chance to breathe. Youngshil tried to mislead him since she used to be a professional driver before. She did, but he came back and crashed into their car. Due to the police's arrival, the guard had to escape. And they were fine, almost. The next day, the cop went to Youngshil's boss and threatened him to pull out of the operation. He was shocked that she dared to threaten him. So he went to her boss, ordering him to pull out instead. They kept arguing until they reached an agreement. They were going to make it a joint operation to get to their target faster. The truth is, both of their bosses ordered them to act as if they're cooperating, but in reality, each of them has a different goal and is working alone. Youngshil just wants to retrieve the money, while the cop is after the whole ring. At that time, both of them got a new mission from the company. The boss is sending them to scam people face to face. They had to do it to gain their trust. This time, they're going to scam an old man. Youngshil felt so guilty because the money is for his wife's surgery. But the cop took the money and Youngshil and left quickly before being exposed, as the boss was watching them from afar. They earned their trust to the degree that the CEO took Youngshil out for dinner as an appreciation for her hard work. She was extremely happy as it was the first time someone approved her efforts, even though he's a criminal and she's after him. But she was still happy for a moment. Anyway, Youngshil felt guilty about stealing the old man's money, so she gave him her personal money for his wife's surgery and moved to a horrible place instead. The cop knew about that and took her to live with her. The next day at work, both were killing it with their attitude. They scammed people who were already corrupt. Instead of convincing them, they threatened them to expose their illegal work. Then they went to celebrate their great achievement. They had so much fun and became best friends. The next day was the moment they had been waiting for. The boss is scamming an army officer and needs 2 volunteers. So the cop and Youngshil volunteered for the mission. The boss acted as a high government official and convinced the officer to pay money or he would be fired, due to the bribes he was taking secretly. The officer agreed. Then Youngshil and the cop went to take the money in person. The officer was a bit suspicious at first, but gave them the money eventually. While leaving, someone bumped into them by accident. Youngshil used this chance, stole the bag from the cop, and ran away. The cop chased her quickly. Youngshil did that because the bag had the same amount of money her boss lost. So if she returned it, she would have a full-time job with a lifetime contract. After a tough chase, Youngshil managed to escape. She went to her boss with the bag. However, she was surprised to see her boss had gotten his money already, and the bag she had was empty. That's because the one who bumped into them before was sent by Youngshil's boss to get the bag. He never intended to hire her, he just used her as much as he could. Youngshil begged him for the job, but he refused, mocking her that she will always be a pushover. Then he opened the bag to see the money, but was surprised he had taken the empty bag. It turned out while he was scolding her, Youngshil switched the bags to get revenge for what he did to her. At that time, the company learned about the cop and Youngshil's identities. They kidnapped the cop. Meanwhile, Youngshil called the CEO to see if the cop was fine. The CEO threatened her to get the money or she wouldn't be alive for long. He sent one of his men to get her. Luckily, both her boss and the cop's team were following them. Once she arrived, she was tied beside the cop. Then they released dogs on them and left to catch the ship they will escape on. At that time, Youngshil was able to untie the ropes as she had worked with a magician before. She also hypnotized the dogs to listen to her, as she had certificates in dogs training. She's an expert in almost everything. After that, they ran to stop the gangsters from escaping. The cops sent signals to the ship to turn around, ruining their escape. So the CEO shot at them. Suddenly, Youngshil's boss arrived and threatened them to get the money. However, he was knocked down easily with no fight. While the cops' team arrived to arrest the whole ring, tension escalated as they all got into a fierce fight. However, the police arrested everyone, including Youngshil's boss, for engaging with scammers. He would definitely lose his job for this. As for the company's boss, the cop dealt with him herself, as she was holding a grudge against him for a very long time. Meanwhile, Youngshil went after the CEO. She crashed into his car while he was trying to escape, leaving all his men behind. He was injured and ran away to hide. However, Youngshil followed him. She tried to attack him, but ended up with a gun pointed at her head. He threatened the police to kill her if they didn't put their guns down. The cop lost her temper and threw a gun at him, distracting him and giving Youngshil the chance to knock him down. He was arrested too, alongside his men. Finally, Youngshil and the cop were able to rest for a while and hang out together worry-free. Then, Youngshil stopped seeking a job and started her own business. She teaches people how to communicate with their dogs. That doesn't mean she stopped the thrill in her life. She obviously still plays a secret agent with the cop from time to time.